I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Tales from Godric's Hollow, the world's most famous or infamous Harry Potter podcast. I am the muggle of the show, your co-host Josh Brown. I am joined by the unicorn of the show, the mythical creature who seems to be highly regarded amongst everybody in the wizarding world, none other than my co-host Matt Sonnenberg.
Well, thank you for that. Your intros, I think, are getting more in theme every week.
Sure.
I do have to say, I think my favorite though was last week. I think when we had the professor. That seemed the most fitting, probably, of the ones we had so far. Maybe you'll find something that works better. I don't know.
Maybe with this episode 9, we're going to be covering chapters 14 and 15.
Yes.
So in these chapters that we read, I'm not feeling a lot of love from the professors in these chapters, Matt. So
fair enough. Yeah. I mean, your intro is very thematic with tonight's reading. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it in good spirits and let people know how much I appreciate you, because if I threw the professor, especially talking about these chapters, people would question our relationship greatly.
Fair enough.
Again, we are recording this on August 29th to be released August 30th. Hearing from lots of people that are enjoying the podcast, new listeners, old listeners from day one. Welcome, everybody. And, if you're not reading along and can't keep up with our schedule, rest assured that all the episodes will stay there as long as we possibly can keep them up on iTunes. So if you're reading at a slower pace and listening and you can't listen every week as we record them, don't worry. They are there for you when you want and need them. That's the beauty of podcasts, right, Matt?
Absolutely.
That's why I don't do live radio, because I couldn't stand doing some sort of show and having like amazing moments just disappear into the ether.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the cloud nowadays.
The cloud.
Even when if we were to do some sort of live show, like, it would be saved somewhere.
It'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't pass up moments like me calling you the unicorn of the show. that needs to be transcribed into wizarding textbooks for millennials. Yes. Before we get into the show, as we always start with a recap, you do have something that you want to go over that you mentioned ahead of time. So what do you got for us this week, Matt?
Well, I need to thank one of our new listeners. I found out this past week that my dad started listening to the show.
Wow. Well, hello, yeah. Mr. Sonnenberg.
So he probably is slowly catching up. He has a lot of free time on his hands these days, but
sure.
He was just listening to episode 2.
Okay.
Where we covered chapters 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I had made a comment about how a lot of the names and stuff were made up.
Right.
In particular, I pointed out that the word mugwump was made up.
Mm-hmm.
However, turns out it's not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do tell.
So, yeah, you don't know what a mugwump is, do you?
Now that you're saying it over and over again, it definitely sounds familiar. My initial thought goes to some sort of Native American word, but maybe I'm making all that up in my head.
You would be pretty much spot on.
Okay.
It's more Americans that used it.
Okay.
But they derived it from, is noted as early as 1832, is from the Algonquin mugwump, spelled Mugquump.
Okay.
Meaning important person or kingpin.
like that.
And it's also from a even longer word that I'm not even going to try that meant war leader.
All right. Huh.
Implying that they were, it implied that they were sanctimonious or holier than thou. So just to back up a little bit, it came into use in the Mugwumps were the Republican political activists who bolted from the U.S. Republican Party by supporting Democratic candidate Grover Cleveland in the United States presidential election of 1884. They switched parties because they rejected the financial corruption associated with Republican candidate James G. Blaine. So, yeah.
Okay. So in what context was it used in Harry Potter? Because now this word is in my head, and I can't wrap it around how it was used in the book.
It was in the list of titles that Dumbledore has.
Oh.
So they here, let me.
So Dumbledore is a kingpin, is what you're saying?
So, Headmaster Albus Dumbledore. This is where we got into the Order of Merlin, first class.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we spent our time talking about.
Okay.
But then he's also a Grand Sorcerer, Chief Warlock, Supreme Mugwump, and in the International Confederation of Wizards. So, yeah,
wow,
it's not completely made up. It is kind of used in context, like you can kind of see where it fits in there.
Sure.
But yeah, I was super surprised to find out that it was actually a thing, and not just like Mugwump to me sounds like something a word people would make up nowadays.
Right.
Not something I would expect to see in 1884.
Sure.
So I stand corrected.
And Mr. Sonnenberg just had this trivia just off the top of his head. He's just like, I totally know what a mugwump is.
He knew he had heard the word before. He knew it was real, and then he sent me the wiki article on it. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
That feels like something you could have in your back pocket for like bar trivia nights. Where
well, you know we all will now.
Yeah.
So if anybody's planning trivia based around 1884 Republicans, we're all set.
That's my favorite trivia game. Pull that box of cards out. Fascinating stuff. Well, thank you for enlightening us. It's a fun thing to know now.
Yeah. I like learning little bits of trivia like that. So
absolutely. Well, it's funny you bring up Merlin and you bring up fun bits of trivia and you bring up past episodes because we have a new listener, Kaylin Amnell, I believe is how you pronounce her name. On Twitter, it's JOC Louise. And she tweeted at us today, and she said, I'm a little behind in listening to the episode, but here is a fun fact. And then she wrote out something for us. She said, Potter... better... Sorry, I didn't have the whole image brought up, so it didn't make sense. Fun fact about the question of Merlin in episode 2. In the Harry Potter franchise, or at least according to the old EA Potter games character cards, Merlin was the single most famous wizard of all time, birth and death dates unknown, who existed during the Middle Dark Ages. So again, like we had a discussion about Merlin because I was like kind of flabbergasted that Merlin was a name that I recognized that was brought up in such high regard. So
yeah.
Cool. Little bits of trivia here and there that I feel are probably scattered all over the place that, if you were to dissect this book page by page, you could probably go a million different directions. Just a spider web of trivia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I appreciate about these books, too, is that J.K. Rowling, she either knows her stuff or did her research.
Yes. Or she had some great interns.
I know a lot of times, like she will be able to trace back the origin of terms that we at least feel she made up.
Right.
Like I've seen things that she's gone back to, like, I forget exactly what time period it was, but like it's derived from an ancient South African or Malawi, or I don't know. There was some African term she pulled out, and I actually, yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about that now.
You getting ahead of yourself?
I might be getting ahead of myself and possibly be giving stuff away.
You're about to spoil stuff for me, Matt.
Yep. Can't go there. So when the time comes, maybe I'll bring that up again. But
Okay, we'll revisit this. We'll put a pin in it, as they say.
There you go.
Yes. Will we remember this when we actually get to that point? Probably not, but it's fun to at least pretend.
Someone will remind us.
Probably. Probably too late, but regardless, we'll get back to it. Well, we appreciate all feedback from listeners. If you have fun facts that you'd like to share with us about what we're reading, about particular questions that I have while I'm reading this for the first time, about random things that Matt throws out there that I just take as gospel that may or may not be true because, hey, I have to believe in Matt. Feel free to write us. Let us know. On Twitter is @TalesFromGH. We love hearing from you guys, and it's been a lot of fun getting that kind of feedback. So keep it up, folks. Keep it up. Matt, before we start this episode,
Yep.
and we talk about the new chapters that we just got done reading, we have to start where we always start, and that is a recap of last show.
You got it.
This is going to be a little difficult for me. I'm not going to lie, because up until last week's show, I had been taking very diligent notes as we read through the book chapter by chapter. It definitely helped with Valerie reading and me being able to take notes and us doing this together. Last week, she wasn't able to participate, so I had to read by myself. So congratulations to me for learning the big words. I had no problem reading it, but I realized that my flow of reading was being interrupted by stopping to take notes. Whereas when I'm listening to it, I could take notes while still absorbing all the new stuff. So I didn't take notes last week, Matt.
Yep.
The show didn't suffer because, I read shortly before we recorded, so still able to have great conversation. Unfortunately, that means this week is going to be a little challenging because I have to try to do a full recap from just memory. And not going to lie, a lot has happened between tonight and last week at this time. So going to do my best, Matt. Going to do my best. It's going to be a little shorter, I think, and less details than you're used to. But I'll try to get the best I can from it. And I got a book in my hand too, so I'm not going to pretend like I'm not cheating a little bit. But look, I just need to remember what the chapters' names were, and then that will spark some memories, I hope. So chapter 12, we covered chapters 12 and 13 in episode 8. Chapter 12 was the Mirror of
Erised.
Erised. I could not remember how you pronounced it. And I was going to make something up, but so this is the chapter where was this the Christmas chapter?
No,
we
I
passed
think that was the week
Christmas?
before.
Was
Yeah.
it? Okay. Man, see, look how it's starting to blend together, Matt. This is turning into a book, not just chapters.
Crazy because we're almost done with it.
Yes. No, you know what? This was the Christmas chapter. Now that I'm flipping through it. Because this is the chapter that Harry got his Christmas presents. And
Sure enough. Yep.
yeah, so he was not expecting Christmas presents from anybody. Hogwarts is pretty much deserted because all the cool kids get to go home that want to go home for Christmas. Several kids stayed back, including Harry and Ron, who could run roughshod on the entire school because no one else was there to stop them. Ron, of course, couldn't go because his mom was in Romania,
Yes.
possibly. Yes, visiting Charlie,
There
the
you go.
oldest son, who's out trying to tame dragons.
I like how Charlie's not even a main character, yet you tend to remember his name.
Well, he was a main factor in the chapters we just read.
Fair enough.
Only reason why I remember it.
All right. All right.
I'm not even going to pretend like, oh, that's impressive feat, Matt. So, and then Harry stayed back because, look, he wasn't going back to his horrible family, the Dursleys. Like, psh, get out of here. He would rather stay at Hogwarts with his friends, with his people, with Hagrid, with Ron, than go back to that awful, awful place. Come Christmas time, he wasn't expecting anything because why would anybody give him gifts? Well, everybody decided to give him gifts because that's what people do on Christmas. They give people gifts. Hagrid whittled a wooden flute for him. I'm guessing it's a giant-sized flute, but that's neither confirmed nor denied in the story. Ron got him a sweater made from Mrs. Weasley herself, who likes to knit sweaters for all of the Weasley children. She decided to make Harry a nice sweater, and everybody was jealous because his sweater was much better than the Weasley kids, and that's because she always makes sweaters better for non-family, naturally. Hermione got him some chocolate frogs. That was pretty cool because she knows that he likes them. And then he got this mysterious package with a note. Has no idea who it was from, but it was a disappearing cloak, an invisible cloak,
Invisibility. Yep.
invisibility cloak. There it is. And it said, what did the note say?
The phrase you're looking for is "use it well."
Use it well. There we go. But not signed by anybody. He has no idea who gave it to him. Ron made a big deal about it because it's super rare, super expensive. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them hardly at all. It's just not something that the normal first-year student at Hogwarts has, per se. Especially just given to him by a mysterious, no-name gift giver. They try it out, or Harry tries it out, first night. While Ron's sleeping, and he sneaks around, goes into this room where he finds this mirror, and he's just drawn to the mirror instantly. And he looks in it, and there's people in the mirror. There's nobody in the room that he could tell, but there's definitely people in the mirror. He recognizes the lady in the mirror has the same eyes as him, and suddenly it dawns on him. That's his mom, that's his dad, that's his family. In the mirror, having just a happy old time. They're there, they're enjoying being there in Harry's company. He's completely enamored. He finally goes back to his room. He doesn't want to, but he has to go back before he gets caught, because whoo boy, if he were to get caught up and about, that would be not good for anybody, especially in the middle of the night, Matt. Kids are not supposed to roam the halls late at night.
Not at all.
So he goes back, tells Ron. Ron's just stoked. He's like, this is the coolest thing ever. So the next night they do it again with Ron this time. And Ron's expecting to see his family, or maybe he's expecting to see Harry's family. Like, they're not really sure what the mirror is actually showing, what the deal with it is. But instead, Ron gets to see himself holding the house cup. He is the team captain of the Quidditch team. It's pretty much like the school superstar. Like, he is number one with a bullet. And Harry doesn't get it. Ron doesn't care. He's like, I don't get it either, but this is just awesome. And Harry looks in it again. There's Harry's family. Now, I don't remember if that's when they get caught or if they go back a third night.
There's a third night where Harry goes back alone.
Okay. And that's when he runs into Dumbledore.
Yes.
And Dumbledore's in there waiting for him. Dumbledore knows that he's been coming and looking in the mirror. Now, we don't know if Dumbledore's been there the whole time and has just been invisible himself. If he's had people telling him the whereabouts of Harry and We don't know if he has like an all-watchful eye. We don't know. Dumbledore just knows that Harry has been in here looking in this mirror. He explains to Harry that the mirror reflects desire. Whatever the person is looking in the mirror desires the most. And for Harry, that is his family. Like, he desires his family the most. Ron, of course, desired fame and fortune and superstardom as far as Quidditch is concerned. And Harry's just like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. This is pretty awesome. And the chapter ends with like the best part, with Harry asking Dumbledore what he desired the most, and Dumbledore's just like, I just want socks. Nobody ever buys me socks. They always buy me books. I have way too many books. We have a school with an amazing library. Why are people buying me books? I just want some socks. He's a simple man, Matt.
Yep.
How's that for that chapter?
That's good.
Good. I probably left out some details, but overall, the Christmas celebration was cool. Everybody enjoyed the feast. But moving on, the next chapter, chapter 13, was Nicholas Flamel. And that's when we found out who the mysterious Nicholas Flamel was. Here's the problem. I don't remember exactly how we found out who Nicholas Flamel was.
The last chocolate frog that Harry had.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. You liked this part.
He gave it to Neville.
Yes, he did.
And Neville was stoked. Because Neville has a hard time. Neville's just... It's not good. So Harry gave him his last chocolate frog. Neville's like, hey, do you want the collector's card in it? Because I know you collect all these cards. And Harry's like, oh, it's another Merlin, or another Dumbledore. A million Dumbledores. Dumbledore's the rare, or the common card in the set. Everybody gets Dumbledore. But that's when a light bulb went off, and he realized that's where he had seen the name Nicholas Flamel from, was on this card. The card listed Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel as the co-creators, co-inventors, co-conspirators.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that. Let's see. It says
co-designers.
And his work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel.
Okay.
It doesn't actually mention the stone there. Yeah, it just we knew that they worked together.
Okay. Either way, that's how we had heard Nicholas Flamel. Then they looked him up in the library. Is that when they used the cloak again? Harry used the cloak, right? In the library?
He had used it before to go into the restricted section.
Oh, okay. That was before. That was when he was just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Once they found his connection to Dumbledore and alchemy, Hermione knew right off the bat.
That's right. Because Hermione knows everything.
Yeah.
So they looked him up, and they realized that this guy had created, along with Dumbledore's assistants, apparently, this thing called Sorcerer's Stone, which, ding, 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 that's the name of this book. And the Sorcerer's Stone is pretty cool. It turns anything it touches, or no, any metal that it touches, into gold.
Metal to gold.
Which is fantastic. But it also is able to create an elixir that brings endless life.
I think it said it made the drinker immortal.
Immortal, yes. So he had this Nicholas Flamel character had taken this elixir. He's 650 years plus old at this point. So is his wife. So they are retired in the Bahamas somewhere, enjoying the wizardly life of being 650-year-old folks. We actually know where he is, as far as I could remember.
No.
But yeah, so then they realized that this thing was pretty powerful, and that kind of explains why Snape was trying to snatch it, and why he wanted it. They didn't quite know what he would want it for, but they knew they were dealing with some serious business here. And how the chapter left off.
Sorry, just to clarify, because I'm sure someone else will note it otherwise, but it does actually say that he enjoys a quiet life in Devon with his wife.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, they're still in the country.
Do we know where Devon is?
I'm pretty sure it's England.
Are we sure? I feel like it's in Bahamas.
I'll be sure in a couple minutes.
Devon, Bahamas. Okay, maybe that's where his summer home is. You know, he probably flies back and forth with ease. So that was pretty much the chapter. Was we learned who Nicholas Flamel was, we learned why he was important, and that he created this thing called the Sorcerer's Stone. That's what's locked away. That's what's guarded by Fluffy. That's what's guarded by what we assume to be some sort of spells, because Snape is trying to convince Professor Quirrell to help him out here to unlock the spell that he put on it. And Ron kind of joked at the end that, you know, if the safety of the Sorcerer's Stone is reliant on Professor Quirrell, then they only have a couple days or weeks, whatever it was. Because that guy is going to fold like a chair, man. He is... Nobody trusts him and his ability to withhold information. So that's where we are, Matt.
So yes, Devon is southwest England.
Okay.
But it has coasts on both the north and south, so I'm sure he has a nice beach house somewhere.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is chapter 13. Moving on today to chapter 14.
Mm-hmm.
Titled Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback.
I was not ready for the name of this chapter. No context at all for what we're about to get into.
Nope. No, not at all. And yeah, as far as new characters go, Norbert is about as all we have. We don't really have anything else.
Right.
So we find out pretty much right away who Norbert is, though.
Mm-hmm.
And Norbert is a dragon.
Yeah, he is.
In particular, a Norwegian Ridgeback. That's the breed of dragon, if you will.
Sure.
And naturally, because dragons are big things, who's going to take care of them?
That would be my boy Hagrid.
There you go.
Because if anybody needs a dragon, it's that guy.
Yeah. They say he always wanted one.
Yeah.
Like, who grows up wanting a dragon?
Right.
Yeah.
Hagrid, that's who.
Yes, that is who.
Can we talk about how he acquired this dragon?
Yeah.
He won it in a card game.
Yep.
I'm guessing the Leaky Cauldron. They didn't name it specifically, but they said when he was out getting some drinks.
It's true. You think it might be a little bit shadier place, perhaps.
They have shadier places?
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe there's like a back room of the Leaky Cauldron.
Sorry, I had to hold back there a little bit. Like, I'm like, wait, have we talked about this yet? No, I guess you wouldn't know.
So there are shadier places.
But yeah, I mean, just like anywhere, there's always going to be shadier places. I mean, they're just not the places that, you know, Harry is going to hang out at.
Sure. Makes sense. But Hagrid will.
When there's a dragon egg involved, sure.
He's saying how the guy was kind of glad to get rid of it, and Hagrid was definitely glad to take it off of his hands.
Yep.
But yeah, it was an egg. It wasn't just a dragon. He got a dragon egg.
Yes.
Which is the coolest part.
Yes, which I also want to, if I remember, if anybody else has gotten the illustrated version of this book that came out a year or two ago, like I just got it this year.
Mm-hmm.
there is great illustrations in there in the first place. I highly recommend the book to any Harry Potter fan. But there is a page in there completely dedicated to dragon eggs.
Is there really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'll try to take a picture of that and share that. Won't really give anything away, so
okay.
Should
Cool.
be fine sharing that. But yeah, we have one note that I had is, especially as we progress through the chapter, Hagrid really has kind of a warped sense of danger. Like he doesn't think what the average person would consider dangerous is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
He's raising, not only raising a dragon, but then trying to raise a dragon who, we get the idea, breathe fire like we know dragons to do, in his wooden hut.
Mm-hmm. That's the perfect place to raise a dragon.
Yeah, to any normal person, this does not sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
But Hagrid, no problem with it.
Right. Like he's excited about the potential to be mummy to this dragon. Like he is stoked.
He gets very, very attached very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there's a problem with the dragon.
True.
He shouldn't have a dragon. It's illegal for him to have a dragon.
Yeah. They're not allowable, not just like at Hogwarts or anything, but they are basically forbidden by wizarding law.
Right. From the, what was it, the summit of 1709 or something?
Yeah.
As anybody would know, according to Ron.
Yes.
Kudos for Ron for knowing that. That sounds like something Hermione would definitely pull out.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like Ron's a little bit of a history buff.
When on specific topics, I mean, you get him talking about Quidditch,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's gonna know everything there is to know.
Right.
And I guess same kind of goes for dragons. That
Sure.
You know, it's a very manly topic. Something, you know, well, not even necessarily manly. It's something little boys, I'm sure, would fantasize over.
Right.
Growing up. It's like, oh, how cool it would be to have a dragon.
Right. But I mean, like, even with Quidditch though, like he knows the history of Quidditch. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I really think that he's drawn to the history of things, you know, like math and the sciences and all that stuff. Like he could not care about at all. But like when it comes to the history of things, I think that's his jam.
You do make a good point there. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that kid. So Hagrid shouldn't have this dragon, but he does.
Yep.
Because Hagrid. Hatching the dragon egg.
Yep.
Just throw it in the fire. Cook it.
Pretty much. Keep it warm, but it's a dragon that's basically based around fire. So you kind of have to keep it a little bit warmer than, say, your average chicken egg.
Right. I love the visual of just Hagrid just hanging out in his hut, keeping this egg warm until it hatches. The kids are enamored with this. They're a little worried for Hagrid. They don't think that he should be doing this, but he insists. But when they're in the hut, he offers them something very quickly. But it was actually our Muggle pull of this episode.
It's true.
Yeah.
He offers them a stoat sandwich.
What in the world is a stoat sandwich?
You see, I had to look that up.
Okay.
You know what a stoat is?
Nope.
It is a short-tailed weasel.
Of course it is.
So he's offering them a weasel sandwich.
Not just any weasel, a short-tailed weasel.
Yes. At this point, I don't think it has any tail, or at least I hope it doesn't have any tail.
Probably not.
But
is this why they declined the sandwich? Do you think they knew what a stoat was?
I have a feel. I think they did.
Yeah.
Or at least they could probably see or smell something.
Sure.
And yeah,
Yeah.
on the spot, I think I would have declined it too. I was surprised with how many people outright said yes, they would eat it.
Yeah, what, 17%?
17%. I still lost the poll, but still,
Mm-hmm.
I gave you a nice third option there for a reason.
Right. That was the
Obviously,
runaway winner.
yes, but that's the option I would choose. But mostly, like eating the stoat sandwich would be my payment for the butter to get the butterbeer.
Sure.
Basically.
Sure.
Like, and I guess I cheated a little bit here because we haven't actually gotten a butterbeer in the books.
Right.
But I know you know what it is.
And I feel like everybody is aware of it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel too bad about it,
Sure.
but yeah.
When I saw the poll and like I was reading, I'm like, wait, there's no butterbeer in this chapter yet. And then I had to think about it, and it still has not been introduced at all in the books. So
No, we don't get to that for a little while.
okay, but everything is better with butterbeer,
Exactly.
right?
It has to be.
Yeah.
The butterbeer is just too good.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you to everybody who participated in the Muggle poll of the week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to keep pulling those out.
Definitely. Going forward though, the dragon hatches.
Yep.
It's big to do until they realize that somebody was watching it hatch.
And before we get there, I just want to make another note.
Okay.
We somewhere in this sequence, we got our second, at least what I think is the second mention of the Ministry of Magic.
Yes.
The first time they were mentioned, this back in chapter 5, we are told the Ministry of Magic's main job is to hide magic from Muggles.
Right.
And so basically they told us the same thing here again, that the Ministry of Magic covers up the dragons.
Yes.
They're out in the wild, but it's once again the Ministry's job to cover this up. And they even mentioned they put spells on people who see them to make them forget.
Mm-hmm. A la Men in Black.
Yes. Like it just works out so perfectly. See an alien, forget it.
Right.
See a dragon, forget it.
Now the kids knew that dragons were in the wild in like Romania and such, because that's where our friend Charlie is.
Yes.
But they were surprised to kind of learn that they were or at least Harry was, in the wild there, and in England as well.
Yes, closer by than they thought.
Yeah. Which is fascinating. Like, how big do these dragons get? Are there smaller dragons? Where, are they just rolling around doing the dragon things, and they have to, like, put spells on hundreds of people at a time that see them flying overhead? How does this work? I need answers.
Well, we're not going to get any answers immediately, but...
No, we're not.
So like you were saying, someone was kind of spying on them,
Mm-hmm.
which I made a note. Malfoy has so much, well, for him, good luck.
Yeah.
It seems. He's always in the right place at the right time,
Mm-hmm.
if it means getting someone else in trouble.
Yes. I feel like he spends way too much time of his own scheming and plotting ways to spend his time to get people in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically all we've seen of him so far is trying to get other people in trouble.
Yes.
Either being mean to other people or trying to get them in trouble. So
Or losing at
essentially
Quidditch, like the loser he is.
yes.
Like
It's
the
true.
typical Slytherin.
Have you noticed the outpouring of Slytherins in the
Look,
past 2 days?
I do not retract my thoughts, opinions, feelings, or statements regarding the Slytherin household and their acceptance into Hogwarts.
I'm not sure what kind of listeners we have anymore.
The turning on us, Matt.
Need to hear from some of those Gryffindors or Ravenclaws, or I guess even those Hufflepuffs.
Typical Slytherin picking on the Hufflepuff. That's all I'm saying. So Malfoy saw the dragon being hatched.
It's true.
And of course, he went running back to school.
Yep.
He didn't tell anybody immediately.
Which I found kind of odd.
Mm-hmm. He could have easily got them in trouble right then and there.
Yeah. At least you would think so.
Right.
But at the same time, you kind of wonder how much he saw. Maybe because if he saw the dragon there, you would think he would have done something about it right away. But maybe he just heard them talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he it's like, I have a secret, but I'm going to hold it over you. Sure. I guess that's part of his personality, too. He likes to be in power and have that upper hand.
Manipulate the situation.
Yeah.
Also,
he can get out of it.
It didn't feel like he was really eager to get Hagrid in trouble, per se. Like, he wanted to hold on to it to try to use it against Harry and Ron and Hermione.
Yep.
You know. So, it was like a week went by, or a couple weeks, or I can't remember the time frame.
Yeah, I think it was only about a week. That dragon grew so fast.
Sure. As dragons do. As we all know.
Well, that's not guaranteed that all dragons do. This particular breed.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm a little rusty in my dragon breed knowledge, but it seems par for the course with this particular breed.
Yes.
So it's getting big. They're getting worried about Hagrid having this thing. Hagrid's getting way too attached. He's singing at lullabies. It's getting snappy. Like, it's going to be a problem.
Yep.
Also, he lives in a wooden house. This thing's going to burn it down.
Yeah, surprised it didn't already when it's like as big as the house. Already.
Right. I mean, he's sneezing and sparks and smoke are coming out of his nostrils. Like,
yeah.
Just one bad cough from things going awry in the Hagrid household. So what do they do? What do they do to help old Hagrid out?
Well, they have a plan. They're going to find him a new home.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've alluded to before, Ron's brother Charlie works with dragons.
Yep.
So they get in contact with Charlie. Charlie agrees to take the dragon, but they have to make it quick.
Yeah. No time to waste.
Yep, which is good because they don't have much time.
Right.
But they would have had more time, except, well, they wouldn't have had trouble if it weren't for Malfoy's luck once again.
Again, yep.
Yeah, he went to the hospital wing to make fun of Ron, who had gotten bit, and picked up one of his textbooks because that was his excuse to get in there. And that particular textbook happened to have the note that told about when the dragon was being picked up.
Right.
So a lot had to fall in place, but
yeah, and they didn't know for sure that Malfoy had seen the note, but there's a pretty good feeling that he was going to discover it, and things were just going to unravel from there.
Yeah.
So they arranged the secret pickup in the middle of the night on top of the astronomy tower. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Astrology.
Astronomy.
Middle of the night, midnight. Charlie's friends are going to swoop by in their on their broomsticks and pick up the baby, quote unquote baby dragon to take back to Romania to allow Charlie to tame the wild beast and let it live wild and free until it didn't live any longer. Good plan in theory. They use the invisible cloak to get up there. Visibility cloak. Not Ron, because Ron's still in the hospital.
Yep.
Ron's suffering. Which is unusual for the story, because every time Harry's been in the middle of some sort of adventure, Ron's been right there by his side, kind of pushing him along. Yeah,
it's an unusual group we have this time. It's just Harry and Hermione, who don't really work together alone all that often.
Right. Especially when it comes to breaking the rules.
It's true. And that's one of the biggest things is that Hermione doesn't seem to be put off by doing all this because of how much she just wants to get rid of the dragon.
Yep. So they use the invisibility cloak. They get up there. They meet Charlie's friends. They wrangle the dragon, and off they go. Well, before that, they passed Malfoy in the hallway, right?
Yes.
Okay. He had got caught.
Yeah, well, they were still invisible. They were heading up to the tower. Malfoy had gotten caught by McGonagall.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah, he was trying to get them in trouble.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
He was trying to convince them that they would be here at this specific time with the dragon, and yeah, that's quite an unbelievable story.
Yeah.
For the most part. But, when they walk right by, completely invisible, out of sight, out of mind. Poor Malfoy, getting in trouble.
Yeah, you go ahead and start feeling bad for Malfoy. I'm sure that'll work out well for you.
Shout out to the Slytherin household. So the drop-off goes well. They're celebrating. Malfoy just got in trouble. He's probably going to get detention. They're rid of the dragon. Everything in part of the plan worked to a T. Done. Night's over. Back to the room, right?
That's what they try.
They almost get there.
Except they get stopped by Mr. Filch.
Of course. That Filch. Filch is everywhere.
Everywhere. Always.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, because, the first question is, how'd Filch see him? Right?
Yep.
They have the invisibility cloak on, right?
Or not.
Whoops.
Yeah. They got a little too excited.
Yeah.
Ran away, left the cloak on top of the tower.
I understand how that would happen, but still, with something so incredible, you would think that would be the first thing that they would make sure they grab. Not just for their own safety so they didn't get caught, but just because that's a super rare thing, and not everybody has one of those. So
yeah, I don't know if it's Harry hasn't caught on to just how rare this thing is, and how valuable it is, or I mean, I understand getting caught up in the moment and all, but it's if I ever got my hands on that thing, it would be somehow attached to me at all times.
Right.
It's not going anywhere.
Sure. So, Harry, Hermione, they're busted. Malfoy is already busted.
Yep.
But it wouldn't be an adventure if our boy Neville wasn't in some sort of trouble as well.
It's true. And this leads us into Chapter 15. Chapter 15 is called The Forbidden Forest.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have a few new characters we meet along the way by the name of Ronan, Bane, and Ferenz.
Mm-hmm.
They are 3 centaurs.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit.
Just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting them to show up in a story.
That's kind of what I figured. Every time we get a new creature, it's like, wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
Trolls.
Troll. Okay.
Huh?
Dragons. Okay.
Yep.
Centaurs. Didn't see that coming. Should have. Didn't.
Yep. But yeah, as you were saying, Neville.
Yeah.
My first note in this chapter is, Neville.
Poor Neville.
Oh.
Now, just like you were saying with Malfoy, who always seems to be in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
Neville is the complete opposite, because he is always in the worst place at the worst possible time. Even when his intentions are totally pure and he's just trying to do good by everybody, the kid cannot catch a break.
Nope, not at all.
I feel horrible for Neville.
Yeah, and what makes it even worse in this case, in particular, is Professor McGonagall.
Yeah.
She doesn't even realize the damage she's causing.
Right.
In one simple statement, she completely destroys any relationship that Neville had with Harry and Hermione.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
Everything, because Neville is the kind of kid who's gonna takes everything to heart.
Yep.
And he isn't gonna doubt what the teacher is saying. So if Professor McGonagall says, "Oh, this is what they were doing," oh, that's what they were doing.
Right.
That sucks.
Are we sure Neville's not a Hufflepuff? I just feel like he's in the wrong house.
Yeah.
I feel like his life would be clear and carefree if he was in the Hufflepuff house. There'd be no crazy adventures, no wild late nights where he's getting in trouble. He would be out of the mix completely.
Well, you kind of get the idea that if he would just leave Harry alone, just ignore Harry, as much as he feels the urge to help, just leave him alone. It's only gonna, like, you would think he'd learn by now. What do we say? We just passed Christmas, so we're going into, I don't know, January, February, probably something like that.
Well, no, because they're talking about Easter, the Easter holiday, and how because they're ramping up towards the end of the year.
That was just reading, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because they're talking about like the final exams, and it's much different around the Easter holiday than it was Christmas holiday.
Yeah, basically they've been together for 6+ months now.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah,
trouble follows Harry Potter.
Stay away.
And Neville likes to follow Harry Potter, so these two things are like oil and water here. They're just not mixing very well.
Yeah.
Neville, I think the Sorting Hat got it wrong. I stand by that. Neville got sorted into the wrong house.
All right.
All right.
We'll add that to your list of predictions.
Yep. So we have 4 kids in trouble.
Yep.
They got detention.
What bothers me a little bit, though, is McGonagall's handing out the punishments.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice any discrepancies?
Big time.
Yeah?
Yes. She docks them 50 points from the Gryffindor house.
Yes.
Each.
Yes.
Where does Malfoy fit into this? Did Slytherin house get docked 50?
No. I have it in my notes. I'll have to find it in the book again. But I have it in my notes that he only got docked 20.
Yeah.
So it just seems so out of place because she's always such a proud Gryffindor and wants to beat Slytherin. And here she goes deducting 150 points from them and only 20 from Slytherin.
Right.
Like, she has a chance to deduct points from Slytherin and kind of lets him off easy.
Right. Well, I wonder if that had anything to do with he got in trouble because he was out and about, but also like telling the story that she perceived to be just utter nonsense. And then it kind of turned out to be sort of true. So maybe she lessened the punishment because he was actually right. Like, he shouldn't have been up and about, in the hallways, but he was also right in saying that Harry and Hermione would be up and doing things in the middle of the night.
Yes, except for the fact that I just found it is 20 points. She deducted the 20 points and gave him detention before she knew the story was true. Because she handed out that punishment as they were headed back down the tower when they walked by. That's how they knew about it.
Right. Well, maybe the 50 points was just sheer disappointment in Harry and the gang and disrespecting the Gryffindor household.
Basically, you can't say she's biased.
Right.
Whatsoever.
Look, if that was Snape that caught him, like, they would have been out 150 points each. Like, just wipe the scoreboard clear down to 0.
Yes.
Done. So maybe they got off lucky.
It's possible.
Yeah. So, detention.
Yeah, detention.
Before they get to detention, they're just waiting around. They're studying. Everybody's just kind of putting their head down and staying to themselves. Harry decides that he's going to stay out of everybody's business. He's not going to help anybody. Every time he tries to help somebody or do something good, things get crazy. So he's like, nope, I'm going to mind my own business now. Which I feel like Neville should have learned that a long time ago, but nonetheless, here we are. Hermione is being quiet. She's not drawing attention to herself in class. Because what they did cost the Gryffindor house a lot of points.
Yeah.
Put them at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, they basically equated it to the 150 points that Harry just got for catching the snitch.
Right. Yeah. They're below the Hufflepuffs, Matt. Bad things are happening in the Gryffindor house.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're just waiting out their time. They're biding their time, studying, just trying to, stay the course until they get a note. All of them get the same note. It says detention later that night, 11 p.m.
Yep.
It's a weird time for detention.
It depends what you're up to.
Well, when I first read that, I'm like, maybe they're going to have like a secret meeting or something. But, I think of detention as right after school, so.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you live on campus, it's not like a high school where you go home every day, so it makes sense to have it right after school.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does detention consist of?
Well, as the chapter implies, they're going to go into the Forbidden Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Which never sounds good when forbidden is in the name.
You shouldn't do things that are forbidden, just in general.
I made a note here on just how awful Filch is.
Yeah.
And how much he has it out for the students.
Mm-hmm.
He wants the old ways to have stuck around, basically meaning, from what I gather, torture.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Hanging by their wrist from chains.
Chains and dungeons,
for days, not a few minutes.
Like, Filch, you're a little demented there.
A little overboard.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he's not allowed to carry out those punishments anymore.
Yeah, it's also good that he's not fully in charge of detention either.
Yeah.
He's just taking them out to Hagrid.
Right.
Who is in charge of detention tonight.
Didn't see that coming.
Nope. But Hagrid's not necessarily too happy about it. Yeah. Because he's not really looking forward to this task either.
Right.
But I will make a note once again. When there are animals in trouble, who do they call?
Hagrid's right there.
We've seen him nursing owls.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him, taking care of dragons.
Yeah.
He has a pet dog. He's an animal guy.
Yeah, Fluffy.
Fluffy.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's detention feels like it's just manual labor.
Oh yeah, it's doing the dirty work that no one else wants to do.
Right. They're gonna build some character.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I think Hagrid's not super high on it, but someone's got to do it.
Right. So what exactly are they going to be doing on this detention trip to the Forbidden Forest?
Well, all they know is that Hagrid has told them a unicorn. Did you see that one coming?
Nope, can't say I did.
A unicorn has been injured because he's found. I believe his first indication was the unicorn blood.
Right. Now, I'm going to stop you right there because, okay, all these other creatures that we're getting to know in this world seem to fit.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time placing a unicorn in this world. Like a unicorn just seems too light and positive and bright, and all these other animals are dark and grimy and scaly and not, they're mythical creatures in their own right, but unicorns, like, I feel are just like glittering everywhere. In this world, I don't see lots of light and glitter and stuff.
I think that's part of the problem, is our general conception of unicorns.
Yeah.
Like, you think glittery and rainbows and take that part of it out and think a horse with a horn.
Right. Which would be fine up until the point where they tell you what the blood looks like.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's just not normal horse blood.
No, but that's because it's magical.
Right, which makes me go back to how we, our preconceived notions of what unicorns are in the first place. Unicorns just are not fitting, especially in a forbidden forest in the middle of the night where it's dark and damp and muddy, and I'm not picturing this bright white unicorn just rolling around through these woods.
Yeah. It is a little out of place, I guess you could say that, yes.
Sure.
But I think they also try to get across that unicorns are super rare.
Mm-hmm.
And usually are, I don't know, in a position that they can take care of themselves.
Right.
That they are magical enough and happy enough and bright enough that all the other dark creatures out there that we met aren't going to be able to touch them even.
Right.
So not only are they rare, but the other creatures and all the wizards and witches generally aren't even going to see them or know that they're there.
Sure.
They're probably almost as mythical to a lot of wizards as they are to, say, muggles.
Right. Fair enough.
Because they've never seen them.
Yeah.
This is a very rare instance, as Hagrid says, he's never known one to be injured before.
Right. But Hagrid's also talking about the unicorns like he probably has a couple stashed in a back room in his hut,
Well, I'm sure over centuries they've been recorded. Like, we're coming up on Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Right.
I'm sure someone's written about them.
Oh, there better be unicorns in that movie. Okay, so maybe Hagrid's like surprised to see an injured unicorn, but it definitely doesn't feel like he's surprised that there's a unicorn around.
Yeah, he knows that they're around, and
he's just not surprised by anything at this point, I don't think.
No, I mean, it's like if there was a dragon appeared in the forest, he wouldn't be surprised by it. He knows the dragons exist.
Yeah.
He doesn't see them every day, but he knows they exist. So
sure.
Why can't they show up here?
Yeah. Either way, I wasn't expecting unicorns, but hey. Adds a whole nother dimension to the story.
Yeah.
So they're tracking this hurt unicorn with its shimmery, glittery blood spilt all over the forest floor.
Yep.
Because it's a wounded animal, and Hagrid's afraid that they're probably going to have to put it out of its misery. That's what they're looking for it for, so it doesn't suffer. He's not looking to find it for his, his own benefit or to show the students what a unicorn looks like. He's just worried about the animal suffering.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to suffer any longer. They split up, which, raise your hand if you think that's always a bad idea. This forbidden forest where only 2 of the 6 not people, because Fang's not a person.
Yeah.
2 of the 6 creatures in this party have ever been in this forest before.
Yep.
but they're both leading two different exploration teams. But still, like, you're sending out kids, Neville and Malfoy together, because that combo is going to work out well.
That's the one that surprised me. That's just a recipe for disaster. And even Hagrid should know that.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, have Malfoy and Neville with Hagrid.
Yeah, but it's kind of like he chose his favorites.
Sure. But he knew something wasn't going to go right with that other group.
Yeah.
He wasn't really concerned with the kids at that point. He was just trying to find this unicorn. So what'd they run into?
Well, they don't really know. Or actually, no. Do they hit? Yeah. Okay, they hit the centaur first.
Yes.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we first meet Ronan.
Yep.
Our first centaur. And shortly then followed, I believe, by Bane as well.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you thought there was going to be more than one when we ran into Ronan at first. Not many hands are raised, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm just going to ask first.
Yeah.
What did you think of the centaurs?
Weird. Because they are very they're essentially people with just like the bodies of horses.
Yep.
But then at the same time they're kind of portrayed as being kind of like wild beasts running around the forest. So like I was having this disconnect between Hagrid knows them, he's shaking their hands, like they have names, they're talking, they're kind of out there. They're not very good at paying attention to questions, and if they are, they're bad at answering.
That's the part that really hit me.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if they were being sly on purpose or they were just drifting off as they just kept looking at the stars. Like, what are you guys doing right now?
Yeah, I kind of think that they have a very high opinion of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of think they're better than humans.
Sure, yeah.
And so they would rather pay attention to the stars than whatever questions the humans might be asking them.
Right. Just and Hagrid like was polite and trying to get answers from him, but like you could tell he was just getting more and more frustrated as the conversation continued with both Ronan and Bane. Like they were just no help at all.
Yes, unless you wanted to know that Mars was bright tonight, then yeah, they're not of much help.
Right. Then that's when everything kind of unfolded.
Yep.
We got into some trouble. Because of course we did.
Well, it's about time. We're in the Forbidden Forest. Something's got to happen.
And Neville's around, so trouble lurks.
Things are building up here.
So what'd they come across?
So this is what I was referencing before, that they don't really know what it is.
Right.
Let's see. So it was Harry and Malfoy, along with Fang.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, Malfoy just kind of takes off and runs.
So does Fang. Fang is
and Fang.
a coward, remember?
Yes. And Harry's left there with this creature.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't really know what to do, but thankfully, we meet another. Actually, no. Before we get there, I wanted to discuss this thing.
Okay.
Let me see. Where is that description?
Said it was Slytherin.
Yes.
Like a cloak on the forest floor.
Yep. And that's why I wanted to discuss it.
Yeah.
me pull out my book. This is why I wrote down page numbers.
Immediately when they use the description of slithering, my head, of course, went to our Portuguese snake from the first couple chapters of the book. Brazilian snake.
There you go.
I don't feel like it was that snake, but for some reason, that's just where my head went back to. I don't know why.
Shoot. Here we go. So Harry had taken one step towards it when a slithering sound made him freeze where he stood.
Mm-hmm.
Bush on the edge of the clearing quivered, then out of the shadows, a hooded figure came crawling. Yeah, it's weird that... Okay, I guess he heard a slithering sound.
Right.
But then a hooded creature came crawling across the ground like some stalking beast.
Yeah.
And eventually... it was drinking the unicorn blood. The blood was dribbling down its front. It got to its feet and came swiftly towards Harry.
Right.
So
it's crawling on all fours, I imagine?
I guess like the best thing I can picture from these descriptions is some creature kind of like Gollum.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he was always kind of on all fours, down low towards the ground,
Sure.
kind of stalking everybody. And that's the best I can think of. But like that at the same time, I don't think he would make much of a slithering noise moving through the forest.
Right.
And so it kind of leaves this disconnect in my brain. It's like it's fighting for these descriptions here
Mm-hmm.
and trying to put them together and isn't being very successful.
Right. Also, it's hooded, so is it wearing a cloak? You know, like it's not a. Is it a beast that's wearing clothes? Like, there is some descriptions that are not fitting together here.
It's ultimately it's to keep it mysterious.
Sure.
But yeah, it's rough to put the description together in your head.
Yeah, it's hard to picture it. Like you tell me there's a unicorn laying there bleeding out magical, glittering blood. Okay, sure, I picture that.
Yeah.
You tell me there's a red-headed, red-bearded centaur running around. Okay, I got that mental image. But this thing, it's like, I'm not sure how to picture it exactly. And maybe that's the point.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully then we get to meet our third centaur.
Because of course.
Friends. Yep. Just happens to be roaming about. And he somehow seems to know who Harry is.
Mm-hmm.
But as we get to talk to him a little bit more, I guess it's maybe not that much of a surprise because at least I get the idea from how they talk that the centaurs seem to know the future, or at least they feel they know the future.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they don't really want to share it with anybody. They want you to know that they know and they are smarter than you, but they're not going to tell you anything about it.
Sure. It's in the moon, man. It's gazing at the stars.
Yeah. But on the other hand, Firenze seems to be a little bit different because he is a bit more talkative.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because he's alone with Harry or if he would have told Hagrid the same thing or what exactly. But for some reason, he felt that Harry, I guess, needed to know a little bit more.
Right. Which was good because the audience needed to know a little bit more too.
Yep.
We need that centaur to open his mouth.
So Firenze was basically able to, I guess, lead Harry in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So he could kind of figure it out for himself.
Right.
But he gave way more information than Rowan and Urbane would have. And
sure.
I mean, we ran into them again. Well, Harry was riding on his back, which
like a standard
can't
mule.
do that. Can't do that. Yeah, standard mule. Yeah,
It's like the insult of all insults for the centaurs.
yeah. I guess the body of a horse does allow you to run faster
Sure.
than like a human would, but otherwise, why not utilize that part of your body?
Absolutely, take advantage of what you got, man.
Yeah, but yeah, Ferenc was the only one who was willing to do that, I guess.
He
So
was, he was looked down upon for doing that to a human.
that's true. But once again, I think that plays to his personality. He is gonna be a little bit different than the rest of the centaurs.
Yep,
So
for sure. So in the end, we kind of, walked the journey with Harry as he was trying to figure it out with Ron and Hermione about what happened and what they saw, or what he saw, and kind of figured out that the creature in the woods was probably Voldemort.
there you go.
The name that we should not say too much. Gotta say it every once in a while.
Yep. But Harry doesn't seem to have a problem with the name.
Right. No,
He
he's
only has a
throwing it out
problem.
there.
He only has a problem because everybody else has a problem,
Sure.
and they don't want him saying it.
Right.
But as we've covered before, he didn't grow up fearing the name like
Right.
everybody else did.
Nope. Also,
So.
he's under the assumption that guy killed his parents, so he doesn't care what he thinks at this point.
Yeah,
He has a grudge.
very much so.
Rightfully so. So it seems like Voldemort was out there in the woods drinking unicorn blood because that brings him essentially back to life, at least a little bit.
Yep, it will keep him alive
Yeah.
for now.
Gives him a half-life, essentially.
Yep.
Until he can drink something more powerful. Some sort of elixir, maybe?
Perhaps.
Might be what he is trying to... Look, Snape was trying to get the Sorcerer's Stone so he could make this elixir so he could bring Voldemort back to life fully, 100%.
That's what it sounds like.
It's what it sounds like for sure. I knew that Snape character was up to no good, Matt. Now, why is he trying to help Voldemort? I don't know. Nothing good is going to come of this friendship. I can't imagine Voldemort has like a list of friends that he just hangs out with on a regular basis. Like, it seems like a pretty bad dude, pretty miserable dude to be a part of, be friends with. What's Snape getting out of this? We don't know. But it's getting real, Matt.
It is.
There's only 2 chapters left.
Yeah, we gotta start wrapping things up.
Can't believe you made me stop. 2 chapters left. We have a lot to cover.
There's plenty to come. Those last 2 chapters are gonna be plenty to handle on their own. So got to cut it off somewhere.
There's no way this book ends with the Sorcerer's Stone still guarded by Fluffy. No way. That thing is getting busted out in the next 2 chapters. Snape's going to get his hands on it. Is he going to make an elixir? Are we going to see Voldemort again? I don't know. But we're not just going to stay the course here until the end of the school year and everybody goes home for the summer. Like, there are some serious things about to go down before the school year ends. I have a feeling.
You'd think so.
2 chapters left, Matt.
Especially when, at the end of the chapter, you remember what Harry gets back?
The cloak.
He gets the cloak back.
He found it folded up in his bed with another note.
Another note. Another mysterious note.
Mm-hmm.
This one, just in case.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't know any better, it almost feels like Shopkins Inc. is writing these notes or something. They're just well done.
Hats off. Somebody wants Harry to have this thing. Somebody knows that Harry might need it for something. Because he keeps getting it. Even when he's leaving it on top of the tower, it's making his way. When nobody was supposed to know that he had it in the first place, It's making its way
And-
back to the bed.
Yeah, who knew it was up in the tower?
Right. Miss Professor McGonagall?
I don't know.
Felch? No, he wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
Filch wouldn't return it.
No. I don't know. Dumbledore, maybe?
Perhaps.
Dumbledore knows that he has it.
He seems to be everywhere.
Yeah. Why does he keep giving it back to Harry?
Like you said, it was his father's.
Yeah, well,
That's what the first note said.
sure. I don't know. We'll find out. What's he going to use it for? What's he going to need it for? He's going to need it.
Yeah.
Is he going to need it to escape? Is he going to need it to bust somebody out of some sort of holding cell? Is he going to need it to play a prank? Is he going to need it to win a Quidditch match so they win the House Cup with one final grab of this golden snitch? I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to end, Matt. We have 2 chapters, and I feel like there are so many loose ends that need to be wrapped up here. So many. And you made me stop reading so we could record this podcast.
Yep.
You're an awful, awful man. That was episode 9, Matt.
That was episode 9.
Chapters 14 and 15
You got it.
of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Absolutely.
Next week, it's the end of the book, folks. The end of the book.
And the week after that,
I can't wait. I am stupidly excited for this. I finally get to watch the movie.
yes. And you'll actually know what's going on.
Right. I get to watch it again, and I get to pay attention, and I get to compare the movie to the book that we just read and see how accurately they portrayed the book in film format. I have a feeling we're gonna lose out on some special things. Just a hunch.
We'll see. We'll see.
I honestly, I cannot wait to just meet Hagrid again, properly, like knowing the character now.
Yeah.
As seeing it portrayed in real life. Like, I'm excited for that.
It's going to be a good time.
So, but first we got to finish the book, Matt, and that'll be next week. Episode 10, the end of the book.
But speaking of the movies,
Yeah.
that brings me to our current giveaway,
Yes.
which this is the last reminder that I'm going to be able to give people, at least on the podcast.
Right.
I suppose we can maybe tweet something out if you want.
Sure.
But this current giveaway ends on September 1st at 12:01 a.m. Central Time. We need you to go to iTunes, leave a rating and review, take a screenshot of that rating and review, and send that screenshot to talesfromgodric's@gmail.com.
Simple as that. And what can people
Simple
win,
as
Matt?
that. They will be able to win a complete set of all 8 movies on Blu-ray,
That's awesome.
just in time to watch them along with us.
That's right. Perfect. Perfect timing.
So yeah, the giveaway ends on September 1st. I think we'll wait to announce the winner until the next episode
Yep. Sounds good.
when we finish the book.
Perfect.
So listen for that.
Yep.
But yeah,
And and again, if you've already left a review, if you left a review for our first contest where you can win a set of books, you're already entered.
yep.
So you don't need to try to do it twice or create a fake account. As much as we'd appreciate the extra reviews, it's not necessary.
It's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're already entered.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. I have a separate folder with all the entries in them, and I'm just gonna keep adding to it every time. So
Perfect. That's
We're all
awesome.
good.
All right, Matt. It's time to wrap up this episode, if you don't mind.
let's do it.
You can find me personally on Twitter at the noise with a Y. But be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Tales from GH. There you'll find the weekly Muggle poll every week before we start recording. If there's ever any changes to the recording schedule or anything like that, that will be the first place you hear about it. And if you just want to interact with us, let us know how you're enjoying the books. Anything that we mess up on, because there's bound to be something. I 100% guarantee that. If Matt doesn't correct me, you guys need to. So reach out to us on Twitter for sure, and interact with us because we want to hear from you guys. Matt, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter as well at As a Matter of Matt. Or you can contact me, as I mentioned, through the email before at talesfromgodric's hollow@gmail.com.
Perfect. And be sure to check out the website, where if you're not listening to the podcast via whatever podcast app you prefer, you could just stream it directly from the website, talesfromgodric'shollow.com. Matt, it's been a fun show.
Absolutely.
We will see each other in a few days, my friend.
Yeah, that's coming up quick.
Beautiful, sunny Seattle, Washington. You don't hear that very often.
It's true.
No.
It's true.
No, we're going to hang out at PAX. We're going to talk all about Harry Potter. It's going to be a good time. Thank you so much, as always, Matt. Until next time with episode 10, the finale of the first book. Honestly, didn't think we'd even get this far, but I'm so glad we did. Till next time, Muggle out.
Mischief managed.